Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about world class. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, I'm referring to, oh, they're referring to a video that I made a while back. Uh, could, could you please give any example of what exactly a world class developer should know to be considered valid by you? I'm myself a beginning junior, early mid front end, 1 year of 1 year and a half time of experience, development, and would like to know the what there is to know, so I could call myself mid or senior without any remorse. Uh, you are you're fishing. Okay, I think I get that. You're fishing for what do I have to know so I can call myself a senior, or a mid-level or something like that. So if you ask me what world-class software developers means, if I've used that term, usually the world-class ones, the best of the best, they are usually the people who know most of their like basically all the entire stack that they are working with. They know practically all theory, like the mainstream theory, what is considered to be most important by most communities. They know most of the tools and they know the modern practices, how you do work in serious IT companies and so forth and so forth. They're basically at a point in their career where they've done all of it in one form or another, and they can basically provide you with multiple solutions to the same problem. To give you a very simple example, if now you're talking about front end, for example. So if you want to call yourself a world class, at least by my definition, front end developer, then if you have not tried out multiple frameworks, multiple ways of say dealing with CSS, because there's many practices that you can apply. You can use many strategies for doing that, and reflected on which one do you pick? Why do you use that one? Do you know which one fits well for what project? What are the trade-offs? What are the benefits, etc., etc.? If that's something that you don't really know, and the classic one is that you've only used one, then you're probably not at that stage yet where you have tried a range of different solutions to some problems, that you can do this. And to me, that is not a world-class software developer. Usually world-class, the ones, as I said, that are the best of the best, have been around enough to try out all the different flavors of it and actually done it for long enough that they know how to effectively work with any of them. It doesn't really matter what you give them, they're going to be able to solve it. And they don't just know how to figure it out by Stack Overflow. They literally know the they understand the nuances that come, and like the benefits and the consequences that come with any choice that they are making, usually. And the reason why I call these people world class is because these are the individuals who make the difference usually. They are the people who make an informed decision and knows how to not just, they don't just know what tools there are on the market. They have enough work experience and have done enough reflecting on the choices that they make that they have a mature mindset about when they pick one thing or another. There are tons of people who they know a few tools and so forth. They sort of use them, but they don't have that in-depth understanding of what the impact is of the choices that they make. And that's the difference between being, say, a senior and a mid-level. As an example, you haven't done enough living and had enough fuck-ups or successes to know what a good idea looks like and what a bad idea looks like. And I would say that you might meet one or two of these people in like 100 interviews. It's not that common that you find people like that. When you do meet them, you're going to most likely hear the difference, though, between how they reply to things or how they think and reason versus somebody else, like an average software developer. But I think that you're sort of attaching a little bit here to like latching onto the term world-class software developer, guys. World-class software developer doesn't necessarily mean that you have to I mean, your root question here is that you want to know when you can call yourself a mid-level or a senior. It seems to me, rather than a world-class software developer per my definition. I mean, this is, as I said, it's just my definition, and the reason why I use that definition is because I've never seen anybody who, like, when such an individual comes into an interview or like put into a company, they always succeed. Always. Like, there is no situation, in my opinion at the very least, I've never seen it, where they don't either take over very quickly or where they don't get hired or things like that, because this is like the creme de la creme people that we're talking about. There are definitely, and I will go as far as to say that there are specialists who I would say are not considered world class per se, because the problem with being a specialist is that software is about more than one specific technology. Very few companies do have. I mean, you can be a world-class specialist for sure, but usually I find that the most in-demand developers are these sorts of people who actually understand the craft itself in a for a wider range of things, right? Than having someone who says just really, really good at one specific thing, because software is about more than one specific piece of technology. But if we're going to talk about what you should call yourself, I usually give people this template. I think it's overall a fair assessment, and it's a pretty accurate one in general. If you're not able to finish up most of your own stories without help, or like you can't really progress, you get stuck quite often and need help to progress, then you're most likely a junior level software developer. If you are able to work mostly on your own stories and deliver by yourself, and you don't really need all that much help with the coding, you're most likely at the mid-level range. If you are able to lead the team, make architectural decisions that actually scale well, and you understand all the practices and the ins and outs of talking to stakeholders and deliver on projects and things like that, then you are in the senior range. If we just stick with that definition, I think that is the way that that's the way you should grade yourself. Most companies and most people that I work with would agree with roughly that sort of assessment. So what I want you to take away from this is that world-class software developers are usually people who have a very in-depth understanding of the stack that they work with, and it's very rare that you find people like that. As I said, it's not you can go most of your career and never meet such a person, depending on situations and so forth. They are the people who really truly understand multiple ways of doing the same thing. They have tried most things out, and they've experimented enough to know sort of pros and cons and so forth with different approaches, and they have a very, very in-depth set of skills within whatever they've been doing. As I said, guys, most software developers aren't at this level. They don't do enough work and take enough variance within their roles to get to this level. It requires either that you do stuff in your own time and you really enjoy it, or that you have quite a few roles or so forth and so forth, because most software developers, they know their stack, and that's it. They don't really know like with how to do things in different ways and so forth. It's not that common. So that's that. But I think that the root thing that you asked about was what level should you call yourself, basically. And I tell people this: just go with this one. Usually it's true. You're a junior software developer if you need help with most things that you do. You can't really progress, or you don't. Every other story you get stuck, so you need to ask for help to just finish up the coding or something like that. Usually a mid-level software developer is hired because they are autonomous to a large degree, where they can work independently and ship code and like deliver stories and so forth. They might need a little bit of help here and there, but usually they can do well by themselves. Seniors are usually the people who coach or lead the team, or have a fairly in-depth understanding of software to the point where you can give them anything and they will be able to build it, and they are usually the ones that you come and ask for help, and they will give you support. It's very rare that a senior is the person who's asking for help, unless it's something very specific or like one-off things. That's usually the way that companies think about this. Have a great day.